So we recently held the 4th official Brackeys Game Jam, an event where you get 1 week to make a game from scratch. And we were so overwhelmed with how many people participated in the jam. Over 8,800 people joined and we got more than 1,800 submissions, which is more than twice as many as the previous and almost 11 times the first jam. As always, we've been looking forward to seeing what you guys can make in such a small amount of time, and once again, we are impressed with how creative you guys are. Truly an amazing job. And before we have a look at some of the cool games, I just want to give a huge thank you to everyone who joined the jam and helped make it awesome. We've been playing as many games as we possibly could, and while all of them are great in their own way, we've picked out a few to show you in this video. So, without further ado, let's check out some of the awesome games from the Brackeys Game Jam. But first, this video is sponsored by Radical. Radical offers a number of tools that make it easier than ever to create 3D animations for your game. Through AI-powered 3D motion animation, you can turn any regular 2D video of a person into a full set of 3D motion capture data. This means no need for advanced motion capture equipment, which just makes this a very affordable solution for motion capture. With the desktop solution Studio, you get unlimited at-home motion capture for less than $400. Once you're happy with an animation, simply export the FBX file and drag it into your project. Later this month, Radical will also be launching a live stream feature for Unity, which gives you the possibility to do real-time 3D animations inside the Unity editor. So, if this sounds interesting, I definitely recommend you check out Radical by simply clicking the link in the description. So the theme for the jam was Rewind.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
So let's rewind and take a look at some of the games we played in no particular order. Also, huge thanks to Maestro2k for his support on Patreon. First up, Divided Dungeon is a game where you control a group of characters trying to escape a dungeon. They must work together in order to escape, which might sound like the pitch for a multiplayer game, but it's not. Instead, you take control of one character at a time, then rewind, and now that character will move on its own based on the inputs you just made. Pretty simple premise, but it gets chaotic very fast, because you can still push and offset the other characters, completely screwing up their path. So you really have to plan out every move you're going to make, and then execute them perfectly. The only thing I would do to make the game even better is change the movement to be more precise in order to more easily maneuver around your teammates. Other than that, I had a ton of fun, and I think this game has a lot of potential. A game with great and snappy controls though is Lost in City. In this game, you play as a girl who is looking for her cat that got lost in the city. The girl has a special power that allows her to reverse time of her surroundings, but not herself. This fairly simple mechanic makes for some very engaging and challenging puzzles. Plus, I really like the idea of the wind blowing backwards when you're reversing time. Overall, a solid experience. And speaking of experience, here's someone who's not having a particularly great one. In It's a Wrap, you're a movie director that just wants to make a nice film. But people keep messing up their parts, so you have to correct the timings on the timeline in the bottom so you can get the shot done. When ready, you can go into action mode to play out the scene as the protagonist. The gameplay of It's a Wrap is very unique and fun, and I enjoyed every second of it. And it's a great excuse to put the player in all kinds of weird situations, which allows for some pretty fun and unexpected levels. Another game I really like is Recolor. The game has a simple concept. You can change the color of your cube to solve puzzles and then rewind back through the colors at any time. As you can imagine, it gets complicated very quickly. I think this is really interesting, because normally in platformers you deal with everything linearly. You handle the current obstacle and then move on to the next. Recolor is the complete opposite, because you have to plan out every move you're going to make in the entire level before you actually do it. The graphics and controls are very simple, but the experience feels quite fleshed out anyways. Great game with complicated puzzles. Another game that had me planning out every move was Retro Rift. Here you have to make your way through the level to reach the rift. Once you've done this, you have to do it again, but this time you must avoid evil clones of you that are tracing your path backwards. These clones will kill on contact, so you really have to plan your route and timing. I am in love with this concept, and it's only possible because of the game's great movement code. I really felt in control of the character, making me able to do very precise jumps and movements, which I think is pretty necessary in order to complete levels such as this. Let's not talk about how long that took to complete. But I really enjoy a challenge, and this game gave me that in an extremely fun way. Besides that, the game looks amazing. Everything from the pixel art to the cool effects when rewinding time and the intense glitchy soundtrack. Now, if you just need to relax for a few minutes on top of the frantic gameplay of Retro Rift, I suggest you try out Playback. It's a cute little puzzle game that's all about making people feel good. See, the people in town are feeling a bit down and could really use something to brighten up their day. So it's up to you to record sounds with your cassette recorder and use them to help people out. Playback is a fun and innovative game with cute graphics and story. Another awesome game was Ducks Knocks. This game not only fits the theme perfectly, but it also looks and sounds great. The core gameplay is simple. You move the white rabbit to the black one, and the black will follow the same route to the beginning. The twist here is that only the black rabbit can interact with green objects. Pretty simple mechanic, but it allows for some extremely complex and mind-boggling puzzles, and I must admit that some of them took embarrassingly long to figure out. Ducks Knocks is a solid game just waiting for a release date. In Rewind, you're a paper plane pilot. Try saying that 3 times in a row. As a paper plane pilot, you're not only able to control the plane, but also the wind around it. Use this power to navigate through the tough weather and to prove that you're the best paper plane pilot the world has ever seen. Also, something seems strangely familiar. This soundtrack kind of reminds me of something. Next up, we got another game with almost the same name, but completely different gameplay. Rewind is a puzzle platformer game where you use your time reversal mechanic to get to the end of the levels. Everything but the player can be rewinded separately. This means that unlocked doors can work as bridges and falling platforms become elevators. All the game needs is more levels. In Psycho Taxi Rewind, you're a taxi driver that has to get customers to their desired destination. But there's a twist. Your taxi is powered by a rewindable spring. Get it? Because you twist the... Anyways, every time you pick someone up, they'll wind up your taxi to give you more time. The goal of the game is to get as many points as possible, and how do you get points? By being fast, of course, and by being as stylish as possible while doing it. And by stylish, I of course mean chaotic. I think the gameplay speaks for itself. This is a very frantic but fun game. It kind of reminds me of old arcade games. If I had to give some constructive feedback, it would be that it takes way too long to restart the game. We just want to get back into the fun. Now, one of my absolute favorite games is Sir Ewind. I see what you did there. In this game, you play as the wonderfully designed character Sir Ewind, a time-traveling space wizard assigned with the task of eliminating all paradox creatures. His only weapon is his ability to manipulate space-time. You can rewind and freeze time for the entire map or just a single creature. Sir Ewind can use the cuckoo clocks scattered around the levels to eliminate the enemies. I really liked this seamless tutorial at the start. It helped me get going without slowing the game down. Pun intended. Everything about this game is very polished. The audio design is nice, the graphics are awesome, and the mechanics and levels are great. And speaking of time travel, here's a game that has absolutely nothing to do with that. Rhythm Rewind is a simple rhythm game, but boy is it addicting. I typed along for way too long, even though it only has one song. Ooh, that rhymes. I typed along for way too long, even though it only has one song. It's really hard at first, but when you get a hang of the controls, it feels so good to play, and you'll have a hard time putting this game down. The funkiness is simply too strong. I don't have much else to say, just go play it. You want what the... Question mark? Rewind that is the name of the next game. In this game, you start out with a scene where some kind of accident happens. Some knights get run down by a boulder or a king gets shot by arrows. It is your job to wind back time and save everyone. You do this by adding forces to objects around the scene. With this you can prevent the arrow from hitting the explosive barrels or throw a table at the barrage of arrows heading towards the king. Cool concept, however the implementation is pretty rough, but clean up some rough edges and you have a really cool game. Finally, Rhombus takes the rewind time mechanic and adds some more layers. In this game you can choose to rewind everything or leave your character as is. Also, you can't jump, so most of the time you have to rewind your fall to get back up. But this means that whatever you did before that will get rewinded. This is where the locks come in. With the locks you can lock an object, making it immune to time rewinding. These few mechanics make for some fun and challenging levels. Besides that, it's just a cute and really polished game. And I completed it on the last chord of the song, which I found pretty satisfying. And now that we've played the final chord, I guess that's all the games that we have time for in this video. Of course, there are so many amazing games that we haven't talked about, so I really encourage you to go play them yourself. There's of course a link in the description to where you can find all of the Jam games. And the voting period has ended, so a huge congratulations to the makers of Dogs Nogs for winning overall, and to all of the category winners on the screen now. Finally, I would just like to thank AquaXV, CodeMist, Ukoda, Job, the Dutch Magikarp, and Jillian for organizing this amazing event, and thanks to all of the participators for making it awesome. Also, don't forget to check out Radical. Get started making affordable 3D motion capture animations by simply clicking the link in the description. On that, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks to all the awesome Patreon supporters who donated in August, and a special thanks to Dante Sam, Lost to Violence Love Forever, Nifdelius, Scott McKee, Faisal Marify, Replica Studios, Leo Lisette, Nobby Ninja, Jason Utescu, Piano Sathinlak, Bobby Reynolds, Donatine Gascoigne, Marc-Antoine Girard, Jacob Stanford, Michael Korobov, Naoki Iwasaki, Gregory Pierce, Owen Cooper, The Mighty Zeus, Alison the Fierce, Erasmus, I Love Brackeys, Sirius Wolf, Fred Mastro, Hassan Sher, Storm Daniels, Dennis Solomon, Game Dev Tutorials, and Max Randolph. You guys rock!